What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a sneak peek video of a series that I'm going to have coming up with the Proline twin I-Beams kit. I'm going to be building this truck up two different ways. I have two versions of this truck, and then I'm going to be putting them up against another two-wheel drive Prerunner, the Kyosho Outlaw Rampage Pro, which is another kit that I just got that apparently works extremely well. So I'm gonna use that as kind of like a yardstick to measure these builds by. But I have to tell you, I just got this out for like its initial rip. This is the first iteration of this build, and man, it is a lot of fun. I do have to change the gearing quite a bit. It's only doing about maybe 15 miles an hour on 3S with a 300 kV motor. So again, this is based on a crawler. This is an SCX 10.2. So this is running an axial 3-gear trans. Really not the right trans for a fast truck. So I need to figure something out. I either need to go with like a high ratio gear kit or think of a whole different transmission setup on here. I really need to get this truck up to maybe at least 20, 22, 25. It doesn't need to be crazy fast because it's more of a scale truck. Not a basher, not like a two-wheel drive Slash that you could just take out and rip and crash into things at 30 miles an hour. I don't know. We'll see how well these things hold up. It's really cold out. I don't want to push my luck with plastic parts, but man, I got to tell you, I did not expect this truck to be this much fun to drive. I'm going to show you guys some running video now. I had zero plans of putting out any kind of running video before I show you guys the initial build on this, but I'm just going to show you. I mean, and this hopefully gets you excited to get one of these and to do one of these builds. I'll show you what I have real quick, but stay tuned for a more detailed, like in-depth look on this build in particular. And then stay tuned if you want to see the second version. I have a full aluminum, the ones you can find on AliExpress. It's like a knockoff of the Proline kit, but I have a full aluminum with the carbon chassis and everything. I'm going to be building that one up a little bit different than this, and we're going to see which way ends up being better. And then, like I mentioned, I'm going to put them both up against the Kyosho Outlaw Rampage Pro, and we're going to see which one is the better truck overall. But let me show you guys what I got going on this thing real quick, and stay tuned for a more detailed video very soon. I'm going to work out a couple more bugs on this one, and then I'll have a more detailed video. Just wanted to get an idea, but if this is even worth doing before I tell you guys what I did. I don't want you guys to waste money, but as of right now, this thing is a blast, man. I'm loving this truck. So it's an option. This is a Slash body on here. This is not going to be the final body. I already ordered a Proline 81 Ford Bronco Prerunner style with the nice bulged fenders and stuff. It's going to look sick, man. Stay tuned for that. This thing's going to look awesome when it's done. Honestly, it's kind of cool like this. I don't even mind this. So you can build this and run any short course body you want if you build it, you know, to the same specs as mine. So let me show you a once over here. We got the twin I-Beam kit up front. Super cool. Love seeing this thing in action, man. It just looks so awesome, and it handles very differently, but it's super cool. I didn't think it was going to be this cool. I'm running these deep dish 1.9 wheels. These are like Kowoo, like crawler wheels, adjustable offset, so you can set your negative offset if you want. These are the furthest offset I wanted to go for a wide stance. These are just some cheap class 1 crawler tires off Amazon, and they're hooking up nice. I may eventually go slightly larger, but I'm gonna see once I get the other body on. I am running this thing a little different, so let me pull the cover off here. Let me pull the body off here and show you. I did not have any intention of getting this thing this dirty. Like I said, this is like in the middle of building this thing. Now I'm gonna have to clean it before I do anything else, but let's just go over the basics here. SCX 10.2 chassis, the Proline twin I-Beams kit. I'm running these Proline scalar front shocks, 90 millimeters. In the rear, this is a Double Clutch Productions long travel kit, and it comes with these shock towers that mount onto the chassis down there, and they allow you to run these 5-inch long Power Stroke shocks, Proline Power Strokes. I'm running super light 3-weight fluid in these. I have a big old 3S battery, 6200 in the back for the weight, to keep the weight to the back, which I think is key for handling on this thing. I am running, if you could even see it, that's a TRX4 axle. I wanted to run that so I have the ability, I still need to connect it to a servo, so I have the ability to lock and unlock the rear diff. I want to be able to run this on high traction surfaces. I can run this as an open diff, or I can run it as a lock diff, and I'll be able to shift between the two on the fly. I have an Element Enduro sway bar in the back here. Lightest bar so far, but I think as I add weight to this thing with a heavier Bronco body, I'm probably gonna have to go a little bit stiffer on the sway bar. But here's where things got a little different. I had ordered this Double Clutch Productions kit. You're supposed to use a bomber length trailing arm. I ordered bomber trailing arms and they sent me rift trailing arms by mistake, and they're significantly longer. This is a very long, I don't know the exact set. I know my upper links are 150. I think the lower ones are probably 165, 170. I'm not sure, but they're rifts, so they're super long. So what this ends up being is a 13-inch wheelbase, which is why I decided to go with a short course style body. And that kind of changed the direction of my whole build. So I mentioned rifts. You can run rift upper lengths and they should be perfect length. I probably will do that at some point. These I have threaded out a little bit too much, a little more than I'm comfortable with. This is a Mias Racing drive shaft. I'll link all this stuff up when I have like more of a full build video with this. This is just a stock SCX-10-2 skid. These are just some Injora side plates for an SCX-10-2. I had to mount them kind of upside down, but it worked out perfect. Just a regular, Traxxas, servo, nothing special there. Hobby Wing Quick Run 10BL120. I'm running, this is a censored setup. I don't have the sensor wire hooked up though. This is a Holmes Trailmaster Pro 3300 kV on 3S. And as you can see, it's not, look, a lot of this was shot in slow motion, so it's gonna look cool, but it's not fast. It's, like I mentioned, maybe 15 miles an hour, but it's mainly because of this trans. It has a lot of gear reduction because this is a crawler trans. I can put a bigger pinion. This right now has the stock spur and a 15 tooth pinion. I'm gonna try going up as big as I can, like 18 or 19, and maybe that'll get me somewhere. I could still do some overdrive gears in this rear axle. That'll get me maybe another mile per hour. So this could possibly work, but I really feel like I'm gonna end up going with like a 4,000 or 4,500 kV motor. Yeah, like I said, I mean, it's working really nice. 20 weight fluid in the front shocks for now with these stock springs, zero preload. Like I mentioned, 3 weight, actually use some mountain bike fluid, mountain bike suspension fluid in the rear because it's super light and it feels perfect on these shocks. Also, here's the other key. This is where you're gonna see significant differences, and this is what I was really worried about. Look at this crazy offset that I'm running here. These are, as I mentioned, deep dish adjustable offset wheels. I have them set in the 17 millimeter negative offset position. I'm running I think these are 17 or 18 millimeter wheel hubs. The black hub here, that's a separate part. And in the front, these are just standard like 5 mil aluminum hexes, so nothing crazy there, but it gives me 11-inch track width side to side, which is about perfect. On the rear, same deal, same wheels, 17 mil offset, the same hub on here. It's like a 17 or 18 mil hub. I'll link it up at some point. But then I'm also running a 12 millimeter hex inside here. So that is from 5, so it's 7 millimeters wider than stock. But that's because I did this portal delete. This is usually a portal axle. I got this SSD portal delete, and it did make this axle a tiny bit narrower. So I really had to go crazy with the spacers here. But you know what? I mean, is it a crazy idea? If it works, everything works. This truck rips like this, and I can now run whatever short course body I want. And there's a lot of cool options for short course bodies. This wide track width on here really makes this thing a lot more stable than what I've seen in other people's videos. A lot of the other videos on these Proline I-Beam kits, sorry, but they handle like garbage, and I wouldn't even want to drive one because it looks like zero fun. So okay, guys, so there you have it, sneak peek. I will go into way more details on this build in the future when I do an actual build video, and then we're going to get into building the second rendition of this as more of a stock wheelbase. I'm going to leave that one as a 12.3 wheelbase with the standard width. I'm not going to go crazy with any spacers and stuff because I want to be able to run the regular pre-runner. I have the Proline Ford Ranger pre-runner body. I'm going to be running on that, so I want to have the wheels tucked in on that one. So that's going to be more of a standard build, and we're going to see how it compares to this in terms of stability and drivability and how the suspension functions. I'm not going to do a long travel kit on that, at least not initially. If it's garbage, then yeah, I'll probably make a whole second build similar to this one. Maybe I'll do the full. Double Clutch Productions makes a full chassis rail that has this long travel shock mount built into it, so that's a cool option. So we're going to see. And then, like I said, we're going to put them up against the Kyosho Outlaw and see if they're even worth building. Maybe you just go and buy the Outlaw. But this is super cool, man. I like the beams on the front. It's very different. And having a lot of fun with this. I ordered the mount so I can rig up my selectable rear locker. And I'm going to have that. So remote locker, I can lock the rear diff if I want. That's going to be really cool. And yeah, I got some more stuff coming for this. I'm going to put a little extra weight on the rear axle for some better traction, different tires at some point. So yeah, guys, stay tuned. I think this is going to be a really fun build series, and I'm really curious to see what truck comes out on top. Stay tuned for the shootout. It's probably going to take another couple of weeks, but hey, it's the middle of winter here, and I was lucky to get out today in these conditions. This truck is a freaking mess, so this ESC is not waterproof either, so it survived. That's fine. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Catch you in the next one. Later. Enough babbling. Let's get into some running video here. You can see here running the open diff. I just assumed it was going to be better, but it ended up being better with a lock diff on these conditions. The dirt is pretty loose and kind of damp and a little muddy in spots. So I was sliding around pretty good. You're going to see I did quite a bit of slow-mo at the beginning here just to really see. I wanted to get a good idea of how the suspension's working. And you can see the body just flopping around everywhere in the back. It's really not supported for the rear. I have some just quick rigged up body mounts that are going off the shock tower, so the whole back of this body is not supported, so pay no attention to that. This is going to get a full makeover. I'm going to run, like I said, that short course Prerunner body from Proline. Should look awesome on here. But anyway, most of the running here you're going to see is pretty much full throttle. This truck is not super fast. I do have I have overdrive gears for the rear axle showing up, and I have some bigger pinions showing up on Friday. I'll get out and run this thing again and post up another video, and I'll have a whole like full build video on here. But you can see this thing it's really working extremely well, so much better than I thought it would be based on what I've seen in other videos. And then also my buddy Matt built one up, and it was nothing like this. I mean, it was laughably bad. It flipped over at 2 miles an hour. You couldn't do anything with the truck. It was probably one of the worst handling RCs I've ever seen or driven. And he has since made some significant changes, and it got better, but I'm curious to put his up against mine now with this wider stance and the longer wheelbase. I honestly feel like that's the key to this thing. So here it is with the lock diff, and you can see immediately better traction. So if you're running in loose surfaces, lock diff is great. That's what I love about running this TRX axle is I have the remote adjuster. I have, since filming this, I have installed a servo to actuate the locker on the rear diff remotely, so that's going to be awesome. I can pick and choose, but you can see this thing drifts around nice. It handles. Really cool. I mean, I ran this thing for about 40 minutes. Barely, I think I got about 45% of the battery remaining, so that's a good thing. And then also, I think I only flipped this thing over maybe 4 or 5 times the entire day in a period of 45 minutes running at this speed. So, like I said, I was shocked by how much fun I had running this truck. I really did not think turning a crawler into a Prerunner style truck was going to result in this. So I don't know what magic I stumbled upon here. I really do think it has a lot to do with the wide track width. And just also, I had a good indication of which way I wanted to go with the suspension, keeping it nice and light and kind of sitting somewhat low with the lighter springs. We'll see. All that's going to kind of change slightly when I put the other body on, I think. I'm not going to go adding too much more weight to this. I did just throw on a little brass diff cover on the rear axle just to help keep it planted a little bit better and have some weight down low for even better stability. It's not a huge difference, but it adds, I think it was like 70, 80 grams. So on a truck this light, every little bit makes a difference. But now in terms of gearing, I am going to be careful. I don't want to go too fast on the gearing on this truck, because I think that's just going to really result in worse handling up at a certain speed. I'm not positive yet, but we'll see. I'm going to go up incrementally. I'm just going to do the pinion and the overdrive and see where that gets me. I had a lot of fun with this, and I don't want to take away the fun factor and end up pushing this truck further than its capabilities, you know, because that's when you get into just like frustration. Start going too fast, the truck starts handling weird, and you can't really, you know, work as well at those speeds, and it just ends up being like, and like, yeah, you could just not give it as much throttle, but come on, who has more throttle and doesn't use it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm going to say, I think just a couple miles an hour, like 5 miles an hour faster for this terrain anyway. I'm sure if I take this truck over to my local sand pit, I'm going to want a good amount more wheel speed. So we'll see. I'm going to go, like I said, incrementally and see how much speed this truck can really handle. Of course, when I really start refining the tuning and the setup on this truck, maybe it can handle more speed. I don't know. I mean, so far it did incredibly well. I'm going to throw on my GNSS GPS unit and see exactly what speed I have going here. I'm just kind of guessing and saying it's like 15. It looks like 15 miles an hour to me, maybe a little more. But I'd like to get up just a bit faster. But you can see, I mean, the truck rips, man. It's so much fun. I really love seeing that I-Beam suspension working up front. It has really unique handling characteristics, especially like in a turn. It's kind of cool to see like that inside front wheel lift a little bit. Even if it's not ideal for handling, it just makes it a lot of fun. And it's like, look, I have other trucks like Baja Rays and stuff that are faster than this. That's really not the point. This is more of a scale truck. I really love the look of this I-Beam. And like I said, it's different enough where it makes it more interesting to go out and drive this thing, especially at more of a scale speed like this. I think this would be super cool. I got to get somewhere where I have the little like whoop setup. That's kind of what I was trying to replicate here, is just kind of going through some rough terrain with some whoops and stuff. But at some point, I got to build like a little track for these trucks and just take them out for a rip in some really nice conditions. But this worked out extremely well. I didn't mention earlier, but I am running a FlySky GT5, and that receiver does have a gyro in it, so I have the gyro enabled. I think with any two-wheel drive, faster two-wheel drive truck, that makes a huge difference. It really just helps kind of correct the steering faster than any human could, and just makes it more fun to drive. I don't think it's cheating at all. Look, in a race situation, if there's rules against that, fine. But just going out and having fun and driving around, I am all for any kind of stability control, as long as you can fine tune it. And that's what I love about the FlySky, is you can really set it up exactly how you want it, adjust just how much or little. You can completely remove any type of motor limiting function on it, so it really just controls the steering, which is really all I want, and it just works great. I run it, any two-wheel drive truck I run it, but you can see the stability on this thing. I have not seen many there's like maybe Double Clutch has some videos out where his trucks look like they're handling really well. Majority of the videos, again, I'm sorry guys, but the majority of your builds handle like garbage. I've seen the running video, and there's a reason, I think, why Proline doesn't even have running video of this kit. Because if you just set it up on a stock SCX 10.2 and you don't really do a long travel kit, you don't fine tune the suspension, get it sitting right, sway bar, all this stuff, it's gonna handle like a crawler. I mean, it's still a crawler, you're just changing the front suspension. So there's a reason why you don't see all that many running videos of these builds, because guys build them and I think they're very disappointed, at least from what I've seen too in the Facebook groups. A lot of guys are always asking, how do I get this thing to handle better? It flips over all the time, it's no fun to drive. And I don't know, I feel like I unlocked some kind of secret key here. So I'm real curious to see when I build up my aluminum kit. I'm going to keep that mostly stock and just put it up against this and see. I have a feeling it's not going to be nearly as good, so we'll see. But then I'm going to slowly do some more mods on that one. If it's really terrible, I'll get the long travel chassis kit, I'll give that a shot and do little by little and see exactly what it is that makes the biggest difference. Maybe I'll just do the long travel, not the wider, longer track width, and we'll see how that goes, if that makes a difference. So this is going to be kind of like an ongoing series. And yeah, I can't wait. My Kyosho Outlaw is just sitting in the background waiting for the challenge, because I know that truck handles very well, and that's a super nice kit out of the box. You know, it's really easy to put together, and for the money, that is such a nice truck. I can't wait to run all three of these together and get a sense of how they do pitted up against each other in a little like shootout format. So stay tuned for that, guys. I'm gonna have like a more in-depth build video on this truck in particular in the next few days, and the slight changes that I made. I have a bunch of stuff showing up in a couple days, different tires, slightly bigger tires. The body should be here today, I think, so I'm gonna work on getting that mounted up. I got to figure out like a little paint scheme for that. And yeah, stay tuned. Over the next week or so, I should have a lot more videos on this. Look at that, man. That was so cool. I love catching stuff like this in slow-mo. Ah, that's so cool, man. I love that. I love the way this truck handles, honestly. It's crazy to me that it's this good. Having literally just pieced everything together and somewhat guessed at the setup. You know, not fully guessed, but educated guess. You know, I had an idea of what direction I wanted to go, and it really just worked out. So super happy with that. But yeah, definitely, I'm going to create a playlist for this, so I'll have all the videos in one spot so you guys can come back and check them out. And I'll probably even be doing some custom bumpers for this at some point. Try my hand at doing some brazing. I have like a cool little setup table from Scale Metal Supplies. And I need a couple other things. I got some tubing, I got a bender. Look, I've done plenty of soldering and brazing in my life in terms of plumbing, but I've never really tried making
more speed,
cages or bumpers, so that's going to be in the near future. I'll do some custom work to this. It would be cool to have like a nice custom spare tire carrier sticking out of the back of the body and stuff, but we'll see. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Yeah, we'll see where this build ends up, but so far, I'm really happy with it. So stay tuned, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video. Later.